You wanted more, and here it is. Here's 6 more NXOS tips you need to know. Welcome to Network Direction, the channel that helps broaden your networking horizons. If you work with Nexus switches, then we've got 6 more tips to make your day better. Let's jump in. You might have noticed in our last video that the interface isn't the boring black and white that you're used to. The prompts and some of the output were coloured. We get asked about this one a lot, but fortunately with Nexus switches, this is easy to do. Use the command terminal colour to enable colouring. Commands will be in blue, errors will change the prompt to red, and successful commands will change the prompt to green. This command is lost on reboot. To fix this, you can add the persist keyword. This puts an entry into the user's rc.cli file. Now this command can survive reboots and config resets. Unfortunately, this is only a Nexus feature, so it won't work on other devices. Occasionally, you might want to convert between decimal and hexadecimal. Your Nexus switch is so fancy, you can do it right from the command line. The dec command, that is DEC, can convert a hex value into decimal. Make sure you include the 0x before your hex value, or the switch will get confused. Use the hex command to convert the other way. Okay, so this may not be the most useful tip in the series, but it does come in handy if you work heavily with IPv6. And if you want to show off, it's way cooler than using a calculator. Alright, let's move on to the next tip, which is going to be a lot more practical. If you've never had to roll back any of your changes, then it's only a matter of time. It happens to all of us. So for our third tip, we're going to make this process easier. This simply uses the checkpoint command and a name of the snapshot we're creating. This creates a backup of the config, which we can refer to later. You can even have more than one snapshot at a time. See what you've got with Show Checkpoint Summary. Now that we have a snapshot, we have a copy of the config at a particular point in time that we can roll back to. But before we do that, we're going to show you a change that's gone wrong. Sometimes another network administrator may go a little bit rogue, making changes they really shouldn't be doing. So if you work with a number of network administrators, how do you track down who made the changes? On our switch here, we can see that somebody has changed the host name. This change wasn't approved, so we need to find out who did it. For that, we can use the show accounting log. If there's too much there, you can pipe this through the last command to show just a few records. And we can see that the user ndadmin has logged on and changed our switch name. Now that we know who made the change, we can go and remind them of the importance of proper change management procedures. But before we do this, we need to fix the change. Fortunately, in our last tip, we created a config backup, and this will be perfect in this case. Start by comparing the config backup to our running config. Since this backup was taken, a new user was added, but also the switch's hostname was changed. We can now restore this backup with the rollback command. And now our switch name is back to normal. If you use Linux, then you'll be comfortable here. There are several Linux commands that work really well on Nexus switches. The most useful of these is the grep command. This is a better way of filtering out your output. On an iOS router, you may pipe some output through include, but grep is more flexible. For example, you can use it for case insensitive matching. And that's just one of the Linux commands that you can use. There are many others, such as less and count. You can even use bash shell if you want. And that brings us to tip number 6. Nexus is very Linux friendly, so if you prefer to do things from the bash shell, you'll be right at home here. First, start by enabling the bash shell feature. Then enter the shell with run bash. From here, you can run regular Linux commands that you're used to. And when you're done, you can exit back to the regular command line. From here, you can even run bash commands without changing to the shell. This makes it possible to run bash commands from an eam script. With this flexibility, you can get really creative. You can manage RPMs with yum, you can escalate to root access with sudo, and you can even create bash and Python scripts. See you next time in Network Direction.